Canberra. Josh, good morning to you. It's
Good morning, Karl.
time to get back to work, you're saying? Are there actually jobs out there, though?
There are, and the good news for the Australian economy was that yesterday 111,000 people got a job over the month of August. That saw the unemployment rate fall from 7.5 down to 6.8%. It was better than what the market was expecting, and they're the cafe workers, they're the retail workers, they're the tradies who are coming back to work as the restrictions are eased, as the virus has got under control. There's still a long way to go, and we know that the road ahead will be pretty bumpy, Karl, and that people are still doing it pretty tough. But we know also that there are positive signs across the economy, and we have the plan to get people back to work.
Figures show from the ANZ that there were only about 110,000 jobs advertised in August. There are a lot more than that, a lot more people looking for jobs. Is it really justified that they have to go and search for 8 jobs a month? Is it possible to apply for that many jobs?
Well, as you know, we put mutual obligation on hold through the worst of this virus. But outside of Victoria, the jobs are coming back and restrictions are being eased. And obviously, we'd like to see the borders open because that will create more jobs too. We're not putting the same mutual obligation requirements in Victoria, and that's obviously a reflection of the fact that there's still a curfew in place and stage 4 restrictions. But outside of Victoria, it is a better economic environment. It's only appropriate when you're providing government support that you expect in return mutual obligation, and where there is an appropriate and suitable job on offer, that somebody takes it.
You're going to wind back JobKeeper and you put some tighter rules around job seekers, we've just heard. It's going to make a lot of people a little bit nervous though, isn't it? Well,
Karl, we've actually extended JobKeeper for 6 months. So originally it was legislated to go to the end of September. It's now going to the end of March. And at $101 billion, it's the most significant support package any Australian government has ever undertaken. And it is right now supporting more than 3.5 million Australians. So we did a review, and the review advised that there should be a 2-tiered payment, and of course it should transition down over time. But that money that is being spent on JobKeeper is still supporting people stay formally connected to their workplace. That's helping to keep people in jobs. But there are a lot of other economic supports that we're providing out there, including cash flow boosts to businesses to help with their working capital, incentives to get people to invest and then to create jobs. We've provided $750 payments to millions of Australian pensioners. JobKeeper is just one aspect of a much more comprehensive range of economic measures that we've undertaken to help Australians get through this coronavirus.
Treasurer, when will personal income tax cuts begin? You are bringing them forward, right?
We're considering the timing of those tax cuts in the context of the budget, so you'll have to tune in on the evening of October the 6th.
Oh, that's a tease.
That's a tease, sorry, Sylvia. But we did take those tax cuts to the Australian people at the last election. There was a big contrast, as you know, between us and our political opponents. They were talking about tax increases. We were talking about tax decreases. We successfully legislated that through the Parliament, and in the context of the budget and getting more people money into their pockets so that they can spend and help create jobs across the economy, we will consider the timing of those tax cuts in the context of this year's budget.
You know, when you're promoting your own budget, things are getting desperate.
Well, they're certainly not. Yesterday's job numbers were pretty encouraging, Karl.
I mean,
I've got a bigger smile on my face than otherwise I would have.
I get it, but still Victoria is in so much trouble. You know, they're in a terrible state there, and you've got parts of the country that seem to be going pretty well and other parts that are grinding to a halt.
But in Victoria, we've supported Victorians to the tune of more than $28 billion already. That's an enormous amount of money. And when it comes to JobKeeper, the expectation is that 60% of people who are on JobKeeper in the December and in the March quarters will be from Victoria. So there'll be more people on JobKeeper than from all the other states combined. And in that quarter of December, we're talking about $11 billion from the federal government going to support Victorians with JobKeeper. So we are standing by the Victorian people every step of this way. And what we would like to see is those restrictions eased as soon as possible in Victoria in a COVID-safe way, because once restrictions are eased, Karl, people can get back to work. And you've had plenty of business leaders on this program talking about how important it is to have that map out, that road out of these lockdowns to get people back to work.
Well, I'm now busting with anticipation for budget
Can't
night.
wait. It's like Christmas.
I'm sure I'll be back here the next morning.
Yeah, you will. Well, we might be there. But anyway, just before we go, on a much lighter note, it is Friday after all. We know you've got a pretty heavy schedule at the moment. We're featuring Australia's first live mullet after the break. Now, going back a couple of years, Treasurer, look at that. I mean, we managed to dig this one. Look at you. You look like Zac Efron. Yes. What a handsome rooster. Whoa.
Wow.
Put the gear on.
We asked for a mullet, not a six-pack.
God, I didn't know you were going to do that. My goodness. Well, you know, as you know, I'm lost for words. But Karl, you know what the saying is? The saying is God created a few perfect heads, and the rest he put hair on. So there we go.
I'm sorry that Karl did that to you.
You are a hot enchilada. I had no idea. Treasurer.
Treasurer, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Have
Thanks,
a great
guys.
weekend.
All the best.
Well, from one mullet to another.